My name is Burgerella, and today I want to talk about Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. I've achieved the platinum for this game twice, and I want to talk about the game and the trophy journey. I have a lot of thoughts about this game, so I want to break down the story, talk about the trophies needed to get the platinum, and then finish off with my opinion. I also want to preface this video by saying I have not watched any of the Avatar films, and after playing and getting the platinum for this game twice, I will still not be watching the films. Also, I want to add that this video will contain spoilers, so you have been warned. To start, I want to talk about the story. At the beginning of the game, you start out as a child that's being raised by humans to be some sort of bridge between humans and Na'vi. Sorry if I pronounce anything wrong, I don't speak Avatarian. Anyway, everything goes wrong when your sister decides she's had enough and wants to escape. So you, your sister, and 3 others go to escape, but Mirza, who is the man that kidnapped you, shoots your sister and she dies. You cry and then go back to bed, and then suddenly it's 8 years later, you're an adult now, and the day you jump to is also the day everyone is fighting, and Mirza comes into your classroom and tells the guards to shoot you. The teacher Alma saves you and puts you in a freezer. You close your eyes and wow, it's 16 years later. You get defrosted after your teacher and another Na'vi called Solek saves you. You escape and now you have joined a resistance full of humans and 1 other Na'vi. The story from there kind of follows the same Far Cry type gameplay loop. You have to defeat outposts and oil drills as you go along. The first group of Na'vi you meet are the Aranahe. When one of them saves you from an ambush from the humans, you are then invited to their home tree to speak to Karnat, who's in charge. You are tasked with finding out why the Kinglaw, which are essentially moths, are agitated and not feeding. You end up being stung by a moth and then tripping to the point where you are a moth and you have to fly around the forest to find out why the Kinglaw won't feed. You find out there are air balloons that use sensors that disorientate the moths. Once you've done that, you find E2, who is a warrior, and his dragon bird looking thing which is called an Ikran. And in that mission, his Ikran Zomate dies, so it's quite sad. After that, you are allowed to get your own Ikran, and that makes getting around so much easier because now you can fly. Once you have your Ikran, you will then take down some of the air balloons and defeat a base. Then, the Aranahe will agree to join the resistance. Next in the story, a new clan called the Zeswa show up at the HQ and ask for help. This unlocks a new area where you can't use your Ikran, you have to use a weird horse instead for now. You have to tame the dire horse each time you want to ride it, because they can just walk off and you are left horseless. Once you speak to the Zeswa clan leader, they show you these huge animals called the Zakru, which they look after and milk. I have no idea where the milk comes from because they are always sleeping. Anyway, they tell you that you can go to a tree to connect with the ancestors to get your Ikran to the new area. Once you get your Ikran back, you have to find out about a poaching ring that one of Mirza's top soldiers, Harding, runs. Most of these missions are go to an outpost and mess up their base. Once that is done, the soldiers try and raid a graveyard of dead Zakru, which you fight off. The last part of this clan's story mission is taking out a huge base. You have to enter the base alone even though there are like 100 other Na'vi waiting outside. You fight waves of amp suits and soldiers while you break their machinery. After you've completed that, you meet back with the Zeswa and they agree to join the resistance. The resistance organize a party to celebrate because a huge base was taken down, so you go back to HQ. You talk to a bunch of people at the party and then Alma, who saved you at the beginning, wants to talk to you. The other Na'vi that were kidnapped victims too are annoyed that Alma keeps trying to be one of the Na'vi when she's a human in an avatar body. Then mid-argument you get attacked by Mirza and are once again kidnapped. You get taken to an airbase and someone called Billy from the Resistance is a double agent and helps you to get out. Billy helps you out and then destroys the base at the same time, but he sacrifices himself to get rid of the base and to save you. Once you escape the base, you head towards a new area and a new HQ because the last one was flattened. As you are on your way on foot, because you can't use your Ikran until you find the connection tree, you find out that Taylan, another Na'vi that was defrosted at the same time as you, has betrayed you and told Mirza where you were. Taylan then ran away and refused to come back to HQ. When you do return to the new HQ, you find out that Alma is hurt very badly and you need healers. There is apparently a clan called the Kamatiri that have healers, and you have to go and find them. You find one of their clan named Okul, and they tell you where their main base is, and you go there. When you get to the Kamatiri home, the guy in charge, Mokasa, is hostile and tells you to go away. One of their other clan members tells you where a shunned healer, Anufi, was exiled, so you go there. Anufi the healer thinks that she is the one that poisoned your whole clan and that's why they are dead, and she refuses to help. You then find out there is another healer and go look for him. You find Okul instead, and he said the healer you're looking for died. He gives you an antidote for the poison air so you can look for a facility in the poison part of the forest. Once you get to the facility, you find out that you were kept there when you were first kidnapped. You then find out that you were sold out by Mokasa, one of the Kamatiri, and that's when your whole clan was murderized apart from the children that were kidnapped. To add more salt to the wound, you also find out that your teacher Alma was there and watched the clan die and never said anything about it, leading to the Na'vi kids believing that their clan abandoned them. After you escape the poison facility, Noor, who is one of the grown-up Na'vi children that were kidnapped, finds out that Alma was there when they were taken and stabs her and then runs off. Alma, as she is dying, then shows you her memories of the massacre, and then her avatar body dies. At this stage, all of the clans have joined the resistance. There is now a problem with tremors. You investigate, and there is an earthquake and stone pillars fall, which a lot of Na'vi die in the rubble. You find out it's a huge drill, so you go turn it off and break it so it can't turn back on. Then you steal a lot of data and then run away. Once you've done this part of the story, all clans will meet at HQ and decide when and where to go to battle. You and the others decide that it's best that you storm the base alone and let the other clans in from the inside. As you start this mission, you have to take down sensors and then go to an airbase before you can enter the main base. Taylan is in the airbase, and when he sees you, he goes to attack you, but Harding calls him away. You realize Taylan gave you a data drive that you needed to storm the big base. So after all that, you have a very long and tedious time in the base through multiple sections to confront Mirza. Taylan has been helping you through the base, and when you meet Mirza in his office, you are trapped by a metal arm, and Taylan saves the day by trapping Mirza instead and leaving him there as the base explodes. You and Taylan both escape together. Harding evacuated and Mirza died in the base. Taylan reunites with the resistance and Noor is nowhere to be found. And that's it for the story. Now I want to talk about the trophies. There are 32 trophies for the main game, including the platinum. I'd like to talk about each one and the difficulty and time to get them. PSN Profiles rates this a 4 out of 10 difficulty, but in my opinion, I would say it's a 2 or 3 out of 10. The first trophy on the list is to complete the main campaign. This is story related and will probably end up taking around 30 hours at least. Not difficult or tedious, just play the game. The next trophy is to defeat a non-feral Thanator, which is a lion-type creature. I've done this trophy twice, and the second time was much easier because I had a maxed out short bow and it took about 3 hits to take it down. Can be quite difficult if you're low level with basic gear. My suggestion would be to leave until near the end, so it's easily done. Next is to unlock 3 ancestor skills. This one can be done fairly easily as they are giant pink flowers around the map. Some of them can be annoying to find because they are hidden, but just have a look around for a cave entrance and you should be able to find your way in. Next, you will need to touch 20 Tarsu saplings. Once you're able to fly around the map, these are very easy to find. There's also a skill where touching one sapling will unlock the location of another one, which can make things a lot easier and quicker. Next, you'll have to touch 20 bell springs. This is very easy because you would have to go out of your way to miss these, as they are everywhere. Even though you only need 20 of these, I would suggest just touching all of the ones you see because it boosts your base health. Turrets wipe you out pretty fast, so more health is always good. Now, the first collectible trophy is to collect all windswept kites. This one isn't too bad, as most of them you'll fly past anyway. If you do miss any, you can always use a guide, which I did because I was missing a few each time. There's only 9 of them, so it's not too tedious and doesn't take too long. The next few trophies are for completing 5 story quests. The first one is to finish the quest Becoming, which is the first quest in the game. Then you will have to complete the quest Pushing Back, which sees the Aranahe join the Resistance. Combined Forces is the next quest you'll need to complete, which sees the Zeswa join the Resistance. Then you'll need to complete Revelations quest to recruit the Kamatiri. The last one is Rising Pressure, which is the last quest in the story. You should also get the trophy for completing the main campaign. Next, you will need to collect all windswept dolls. There are also 9 of these. Not as easy to find as the kites, as these dolls are hidden in logs and caves. I used a guide to find these because there's only so much flying around you can do with no luck. Still fairly easy and doesn't take long if you have a guide. You'll have to complete all recon retrievals for the next one. Most of these you find as you explore, and if you miss any, just fly around areas with fog or just use a guide. There are 9 of these to collect as well. If you complete these as you see them, you should get them completed along with the story, but if not, it doesn't take too long to collect them all at the end. The next one is to unlock 20 Hunter's Guide entries for gatherable wildlife. This one is pretty easily done. Anytime you see an animal, you just press L3 to inspect, and you'll unlock this trophy pretty quickly. The next trophy is the same but for gatherable plants, but you'll need to get 30 entries for this trophy. Again, it'll be fairly quick as long as you remember to inspect as many plants as you can. This trophy won't take very long because there are wildlife and plants everywhere. The next 2 trophies are for unlocking 30 audio logs and 30 notes. These aren't too difficult as there are around 40 in total of each in the game according to PSN profiles. Make sure to look around HQ after each quest. When you defeat a base, check the loot room for any datapads and keep an eye out in the field labs for datapads too. You should get these naturally as you play if you're looking for them as you go. If not, there are guides you can use. You will have to unlock an Apex skill for the next trophy. The quickest way to get skills is doing quests, finding Tarsu saplings, and unlocking ancestor skills. Once you've maxed out one of these skill trees, you will have to complete a challenge to unlock the skill. I chose to do the Ikran skill tree as it has the easiest challenge. The next trophy is to defeat 10 RDA installations, which are the dig sites around Pandora. You will need to defeat all installations in order to unlock another trophy anyway, so it's good to chip away at these as you play so you don't end up doing them all at the end. You will also have to defeat 5 RDA outposts, which are the big bases around Pandora. You will nearly complete 5 just by doing the story, but again, you will need to defeat all of them for another trophy regardless. Next, you will need to unlock 3 specialty dishes. I unlocked these just by doing quests, so if you just play the story, this trophy should just pop as you play. The next trophy is to craft a weapon or gear piece of superior rarity or higher. This one can be done fairly easily if you just speak to a random Navi around Pandora. They will usually give you ingredients or material of higher quality. It's also good to check any baskets around the camps as they seem to have good stuff in them. You can also use clan favor to buy materials. Next, you will have to collect all treasure hunt comics. These are done through the Finding Home quests. You will need to hack computer terminals you come across, which will then give you a photo of where the comic is. I personally am terrible at puzzles like this, so I used a guide. It can be quite time-consuming going across the map, but I would make sure to unlock as many fast travel points as possible. One of the more tedious trophies is next, where you will have to reach an air quality level of 100%. That means you will have to complete all installations and bases to get 100%. The way I recommend doing this is doing 1 or 2 as you go so that you won't have a huge amount to do at the end. I will say that the level 20 base for me personally was horrible, so make sure to go there as prepared as possible and not too underleveled. This is probably the most tedious and longest trophy to get in the game. The next one is thankfully easier, where you'll need to tune all Aeolian wind flutes. Most of these are visible as you fly around, so easy to find. Some can be a bit more hidden if you haven't completely defogged the map. I was missing 2, which I used a guide to find. You will have to complete all Sarentu totems for the next trophy. I found these not the easiest to find, but it was quite fun following the trails to the end. Using a guide for the locations of the ones you can't find is a good idea. Next, you'll have to complete 10 mycelium network activities, which is essentially following mushrooms. This one is strange because there's only 9 on the map, so you'll have to do all 9 and then wait until the next day for them to reset, and then just do one of them again. Very straightforward, just not sure why there's 9 and not 10. The next one is to complete all Bladewing trails, which are a pain because you have to follow them, but they fly too fast to run after, so you have to use your Ikran, but it will get stuck. I don't have much advice for this one other than get through them as fast as possible because they aren't fun. For the next trophy, you'll have to complete 3 stages of each of the clan's community side quests. Each camp will have a basket, and you check the basket to see what they need, and then you deliver it. It's essentially a fetch quest. What I did was try and get 1 of each ingredient and store it. That way, if any camps I go to need any of those items, I will have it. This one can be super tedious if you're not actively picking up ingredients as you go. Definitely one of the more tedious trophies in the game. One of the last trophies is to complete all 3 of the Steady Wings quests. This is where you need to take a Kinglor Queen to its new home. You just need to go to the Aranahe home tree and speak with Etua to unlock these quests. These ones are actually quite fun side quests, and they are very easy as well. The last trophy on the list is to unlock 3 skills in each skill tree. Once you start this game, it's a good idea to try and keep the character balanced with all the skills, so this trophy should come naturally during the game. That's it for the trophy list. Once you've got all these trophies, the platinum will be yours. After being on the platinum journey for this game twice, I can safely say that this is definitely one of the easier and less tedious trophy lists. Nothing majorly collectible, just a few odd ones. I will say that I did feel like it was missing some combat trophies, also trophies to do with flying and riding. I thought the list was a bit short and could have done with about 40 to 50 trophies. Now it's time for me to give my opinion on the game. I will say that overall I liked the game a lot. I hadn't seen any reviews or commentary on the game before I played it for the first time in December of last year. Even after it came out, I didn't see that many people talking about it. As with any Ubisoft game, I always have my Ubisoft expectation hat on. In my experience, they know how to build a world, but they never really nail the story. That being said, the story in this game wasn't terrible. I would have liked to have seen more of the different clans interacting and just more scenes in general that would add more to the story. In terms of gameplay, I do think it's very fun, as I am a fan of bow and arrow combat in general. The guns in the game are nice to have as an option, but I like that you can play the entire game without using a gun. That being said, it can become quite repetitive when taking over the bases, as there isn't much variety in enemies. There are certain points in the game, especially during the main missions, where it feels like a different game because of the lengthy combat encounters. One of the things I didn't like about the game was the voice acting of some of the characters. The main character, for example, if you play as a woman, has an American accent, whereas none of the other characters that were kidnapped have an American accent. It just feels very out of place. Also, the Priya character is quite difficult to listen to, and I don't think she's a well-written character. I do think the voice acting of the other Na'vi characters is good though. For the actual look of the game, I do think it is one of the most beautiful games I think I've played. The graphics look so good on the PS5 and the world is so vibrant and colourful. I also have to mention that I love the Ikran and the flying ability, definitely one of the best parts of the game. Being able to use the bow on the back of the Ikran and attack an oil drill is definitely one of the highlights. One of the reasons I made this video so long is just to showcase all of the footage I've captured on my PS5. I definitely could have made a 5-hour video with all the footage that I captured. So after all that, I think I would rate this game 4 out of 5 burgers. I had a positive experience playing this game both times, and although there are some flaws, I will say that I had a good time. I would also like to say that this is purely my opinion after getting the platinum for this game twice. If you've made it to the end of this video, I'm hoping you would be kind enough to leave some feedback on this video. I'm trying out new ideas and formats and would love to hear what you think. All suggestions are welcome. Thanks for watching!